And a good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Rayford Brown.
And I'm Kelly now.
It is Tuesday, right?
It is Tuesday.
Okay, very good. We're on our way towards the weekend.
Yeah.
That's what we seem to live for these days, or whatever.
Yeah.
I got a question for any of you folks out there, any of you listeners. If you were caught up in a massive traffic jam, a mess on the bypass in Jacksonville yesterday, give us a call. I'd like to know what it was about. I can't find any news stories about it. I can't find anybody who's seen anything. But I do know coming back from Wilmington, I normally take the bypass.
Mhm.
Traffic was backed up all the way to Highway 17. Cars were turning around on the on ramp going to that bypass, turning around and coming back off.
Oh my.
Oh, yes. It was a mess. As far as I could see up the route, going from 258 all the way past that direction, as far as I could see around the curve, every lane was stopped. I don't know what it was, but I tuned in, tried to listen, look for anybody with any information.
Nothing.
None of the news outlets have anything. So, how about it? I know some of you got caught up in it. Somebody knows something. So I'm going to guess it was a massive accident of some sort to block it that bad. But there was no traffic control out there on 17 either. That should have been should have been the first thing, of course, because I don't know how long before I passed it did it happen. It could have just happened, and it doesn't take long for traffic that time of day to come to a screeching halt. So anyway, I'd like to know something about it. If anybody's got any idea, any inside information, if you were caught up in it, 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. I don't know whether it was a highway patrol, their jurisdiction, because it could have been the Jacksonville PD further up. Just don't know how far back it was. So anyway, whatever. The Swansboro man, he's going to spend the next 41 years behind bars, followed by a lifetime of supervision once he's released, if he ever is released, after he pleaded guilty to producing and distributing child pornography. 42-year-old William Thomas Bailey pled guilty to the charges earlier this year. Bailey was investigated by the Department of Homeland Security in early 2018 after being identified as part of an online group trading child pornography. An email address belonging to Bailey was used to trade child pornography with multiple users. Agents discovered an email where Bailey bragged to someone about sexually abusing a young child. More than 300 images and videos of child sexual abuse were discovered on his cell phone. Some of them were very, very young children. Preschool.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah. So anyway, he's got 41 years to think about it. A Forest, Virginia woman facing charges in an animal abuse case in Bedford County, that's in Virginia, 25-year-old Emily Madison Pendell, I want you to listen to this, charged with sexual abuse of an animal on August 17th.
Oh, my word.
The 25-year-old woman, oh, my. She's out on bail. She's out without bond. They didn't even put a bond on her. The Bedford County Commonwealth's Attorney's Office is continuing the investigation. No other details are available. She's set to appear in General District Court in October. Two Russian maritime patrol aircraft were detected and tracked off the coast of Alaska and Canada on Sunday. The aircraft entered and operated in the Alaskan and Canadian Air Defense Identification Zones, known as ADIZ, but did not enter American sovereign airspace. This recent Russian activity in the North American ADIZ is not seen as a threat, nor is the activity seen as provocative, according to NORAD. Russia has flown nuclear-capable bombers inside this ADIZ in the past. Back in 2020, for instance, when two Tu-95 bombers came within 20 nautical miles of Alaska shores. This is getting a little bit.
Are they just probing?
Yeah, they're just taunting us.
Let me see what can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. See if we react. You may recall that North Carolina's Republican-controlled legislature passed a voter ID law back in 2018.
Mhm.
The law is on the books, but was put on hold when Democrats filed legal appeals that have yet to be heard.
Correct.
Well, those appeals will be heard
Mhm.
by the North Carolina Supreme Court in October.
Yep.
Why it's taken 4 years, I don't know. The court is made up of 4 Democrats and 3 Republicans, so the deck is already stacked.
Yep.
Maybe that's why they waited.
Mhm.
What I cannot understand, and maybe y'all can help us out here, why Democrats think minorities in this state are too dumb to get a government-issued ID. Those IDs don't cost the applicants anything. You know that, right?
Correct.
To put things into perspective, it should quell the fears of both Democrats and Republicans who don't want folks who are not legally capable of voting in this state from breaking the law. Democrats want every person who tries to buy a gun to prove who they are and that they can legally own a gun.
Mhm.
That includes minorities.
Mhm.
But they are seemingly not concerned that men and women can come into this state and cast votes without actually being legal residents. I want to know why. And I really want to understand that thought process. So I'm asking for you guys to help us out here. Help me out because I'm too stupid to figure it out. 910-333-0139. We got a couple of guests coming in today.
Mhm.
One, I'm anxious. I don't think I've ever met this gentleman. I've talked to him on the phone,
Mhm.
and I may have met him in years past for one function or another.
Mhm.
Ike Johnson. He's running for a seat on the North Carolina House of Representatives from right here in Onslow County.
Mhm.
And he's running against an incumbent who's a Republican and who's been in office for a long, long time. Retired Marine, George Cleveland. And George has come under some fire of late.
Yep.
For several years now, he's been asked and he's been holding up letting the people have the right to vote on an issue,
Mhm.
the specific issue being whether we, the people of Onslow County, want an additional half-cent or quarter-cent or whatever it is, sales tax increase,
Mhm.
and what they call a local option sales tax.
Yeah.
Whether we want that, because the county commissioners say the only other source of revenue is property taxes that they can raise.
Mhm.
If they had this, millions of dollars would come into the county, and everybody who's a user of anything will pay it.
Correct. Versus
Whether you're a resident, whether you're a property owner, or whatever you are,
Yeah.
if you use the service,
Mhm.
you will pay the tax.
Correct.
So I do have some questions about a lot of things about our sales tax, though, and where all the money is going. A few years ago, you could go get your car or your boat repaired.
Mhm.
Okay. And the vast majority of the expenses in making repairs on boats and cars is labor.
Yeah.
Labor was not taxed.
Mhm.
Just the parts that you
Right.
use were taxed.
Mhm.
Now labor is taxed 7%.
So who gets that money?
Where has this money been going? That should have been a huge source of income.
Mhm.
I know that Tideline Marine pays a lot in
Mhm.
sales tax. They collect it, they pay it to the state.
Mhm.
That's just one little business.
Yeah. Don't know.
Where's the money going?
State's doing something with it.
Yeah,
I'd like to know what. But
yeah,
yeah.
doing something to us, I'll
Mhm.
tell you that.
Mhm.
So I would really like to know what's happening with that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting and interview with
Ike Johnson.
Ike
Yeah,
Johnson.
yeah, it's coming up at 7:30 this morning.
Yeah.
He's going to be in here.
I had some few people talking to me yesterday, and they had stated that this will be the first Democrat they've ever voted for because they already said they're
I've
voting
heard
for him.
so
Yeah.
many people say that
Mhm.
that
They're voting for him.
both independents and Republicans.
These were Republicans
These
that I was talking to
so
yesterday. Yep, and they said
there
they are
is
not
some
voting
dissension.
for Cleveland. Yeah.
So
Well, I'm not voting for Cleveland. I've said it. I'm a Republican. I'm not voting for him
and I
because
don't tell anybody who I'm not voting for.
well,
or
I
voting
will
for,
say I'm
but
not voting for him because I have been very vocal about
Mhm.
his no sales tax issue, his unwillingness, in my opinion, to educate himself on the medical marijuana issue.
Those are two issues that
So
we'll
I'm
talk
not.
about this morning too.
Raven, I have no problem telling people, as a lifelong Republican, I will not vote for George Cleveland. Bottom
Okay.
line. So, And guess what, people? It's my choice.
Yeah, it is your
You know,
choice.
I don't want to, people say, oh, you're a rhino. No, I'm a voter. And I want to vote for someone I think it's going to do the best for me as a citizen, regardless of what my political affiliation is.
Or
and
theirs.
I would hope, or theirs, because, there's a lot of Republicans, I think, that don't have the greatest ideas or ideas or things they support. Just like, there are some Democrats who have ideas, believe it or not, that I do support. And there's a lot I don't. For people just to simply vote for somebody because of the letter behind their name,
and they did
and
that
look at what
last time.
happened with Eric Whitfield.
Yep.
It's not how you should do it. You should research the candidate, and I don't care what political party they are. If they have something that is, that you feel strongly pro about, regardless of what it is, don't just look at, the letter behind the name. Look, you should be voting for the person that's going to do the most for you, basically. I think people get too caught up, and a lot of times they don't even know who they're voting for. Yeah. I think that was evident with Eric Whitfield, who even said, don't vote for me.
And who didn't vote for himself.
And who the Republican Party had disavowed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think, in my opinion, issues matter, especially in this day and age.
They do.
And I'm planning to vote for a candidate that I think is going to do the best for me and is for the things I'm for.
Yeah.
So,
well,
period.
Yeah, well, interesting to talk.
I'd like to talk to him
Mr.
and see,
Johnson
if he, otherwise, if I don't like what he has to say, then I'm just going to skip that part on my ballot. That's my plan as of now.
Or we'll do a write-in campaign.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'll just write somebody. Yeah, I'll put Shockwave in there. Yeah. Yeah.
That's my doggy.
Yeah.
A Texas police union has come unglued, and rightfully so. A judge decided to set bail for two men who are charged with killing an off-duty deputy while they were out on bond for previous murder cases. What? These two guys.
How does that happen?
Ahizm Taylor Jr. and Jaylan Womack were arrested Friday for the August 28th shooting death of Harris County Precinct 3 Deputy Omar Urson.
Wait a minute.
They were arrested a week ago, Friday, on the 28th. Well, they were arrested after that. He was off duty, shot and killed while picking up dinner for his family. The two were out on bond at that time for an unrelated murder charge, two different murder charges, in fact. Taylor Jr.'s previous murder charge involved a car sale gone wrong. Womack's murder charge stemmed from a drug sale.
But Harris County is the same county we were talking about yesterday, where they were considering charges, that district attorney's taking that to the grand jury of that kid that killed the home invasion people. So what's happening to Harris County? They need an overhaul. Even the judges, apparently. How are these people on bond?
Judge Denise Collins increased Taylor's bond to $2 million for capital murder and $1 million for tampering with evidence on Monday. Womack's bond increased to $2 million for capital murder. Capital murder, and you have a bond put on you? And you were already out on bond for another murder, two other different murders?
Getting out on bond on the original murder. Because if they'd have been in jail, this murder wouldn't have taken place. Oh, my God.
Family of this deputy should sue whoever released them on bond, whoever set a bond.
Yep.
Because her husband would still be alive.
I agree 100% with that statement. Yeah. Harris County seems to have problems.
The police officers union put out on Twitter, this proves that risk assessment in Harris County isn't a thing.
I can't argue that, buddy. Can't.
These two are a threat to public safety, whether or not they have the money to post bail. They were both already on bond for pending murders they already committed. Now they kill again and are granted bail again? ? Really?
How much was the first bail that they actually bonded out? Do we have any idea?
No, I don't know.
It better not have been something terribly low, and you know full well it was. Yeah. You know it was. Oh, my God.
Sickening.
Yes.
Disgusting.
Yes. I just can't.
I will tell you what. I wouldn't want to be committing any crimes in Harris County right away.
Why? You apparently can get out on bail.
No, not if the police go to get you. because they're not going to be happy with you.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, yeah, that's true too.
Instead of using total discretion,
Hmm.
it's a wonder these guys made it on the second
I'm going
arrest.
to look in Texas. Where did you say it
It's
was?
Houston.
Okay. Well, where's Dallas? That's not Harris County, is it?
No.
Okay.
According to Houston Police Officers Union, murders in Houston increased from 268 in 2017 to 479 in 2020
Because apparently
and
you can get
2021.
bond and you're not going to get a lot of things happen to you. So, yeah, it's open season for criminals, apparently. I don't understand Texas laws. I've always been led to believe they were like tough.
Uh-huh.
But based on that, they're not. And
Uh-huh.
then you and I were talking before the show about, I don't understand this, Rayford. That Dallas man that was sentenced to only 60 years in prison after he pled guilty to filming himself raping a 7-year-old.
That's the maximum
my
that the
God.
legislature allows in Texas.
And this goes back to what I'm saying about legislators and their law. Oh my God, whoo. This is how I know I could do some bare hands damage to somebody by reading stuff like this.
Yeah.
And the girl's father walked in on him. See, I'd have killed
done.
this SOB. Bottom line, there would have been no trial.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in on him, and turns out she was 9. He'd been doing it since she was 7.
Yeah.
And this was they'd been friends for years. Oh no, my God, no.
Every time one of the over 7 million people living in the San Francisco Bay Area flushes a toilet, they feed potentially harmful red algae into the bay and its estuaries. The issue came to a head last month when images and videos of thousands and thousands of fish floating belly up in Oakland, California's Lake Merritt made national news. A harmful algae bloom called red tide killed the creatures. A heat wave then compounded the issue by hastening the fish rot. Neighbors told TV stations here that the stench was unbearable. The city rushed to clear out 10,000 dead fish before the long Labor Day weekend. So,
I'm waiting for it. I know it's coming.
Said the chief officer of the San Francisco Bay Regional Water Control Board. So if you flush your toilet,
I knew it.
You're sending nutrients to local wastewater treatment plants that discharges to San Francisco Bay. Over 60% of the nutrient loads to San Francisco Bay comes from the wastewater treatment plants.
So what are they proposing? Let's hear it. Let me guess. You can't flush your toilet. That's got to be the next words out of your mouth. Or have they just not said yet?
They haven't said.
Okay. They're planning it. Just like they tell people, buy electric cars, but then you can't charge your electric cars during certain times. I'm still laughing about that one. California, doing it right. What's wrong with people? I just do not understand.
Neither do I.
Yep.
Let's take a break, do a little bit of weather. Then we're going to be chatting with a young man in here that I'm absolutely looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, you're live and local, Real Talk. Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSAB, and we'll be right back. Sometimes it's impossible to get a picture perfect day to check the creeks and rivers out there when you want to go fishing, not to mention the intercoastal waterway. You're looking for redfish or speckled trout. It's hard to get in there because not because of a lack of fish, but because the water may be just a wee bit too choppy for your little John boat.
Okay.
So, Sideline Marine right here in Jacksonville has a boat in stock that you're sure to like. It's an aqua sport, tough as nails and stable even when the White Oak and New Rivers have chop that challenges smaller boats. It can still float in very shallow water. Don't make any mistake about that. Bring you home when you're ready, even if the rivers in the ICW are not cooperating. On nice days, you can even fish near shore and on nearby natural and artificial reefs in Onslow Bay. Stop in, ask George or Elise to show you the aqua sports in stock. It can make an ideal family Christmas present as well.
Hmm.
A cold front pushed into the region overnight and will slowly move through today. High pressure will build into the area mid to late week. Offshore today, winds out of the west 10 to 15, becoming southwesterly 5 to 10 in the afternoon, 3 to 5 footers, except 2 to 3 near shore. Dominant period 9 seconds, looking pretty decent out there.
Mhm.
Sounds and rivers, a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. Northerly winds tomorrow 5 to 10, northeasterly in the afternoon, seas 2 to 3. Dominant period 8 seconds, sounds and rivers, a light chop. Northeasterly winds on Thursday 10 to 15, seas 2 to 3 feet.
Today, partly sunny, a high of 87. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 64. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 85. It's going down. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low of 63. And on Thursday, mostly sunny, high of 85.
A low of what?
63 tomorrow night. 64 tonight.
You know, I might come
That's
in
like
early.
nippy.
Might come in early in the morning. And
Mhm.
put that fan going that you just brought in
Go
here
for it.
and bring some cold air into this room.
Yes.
What do you think?
I'm all for you doing
So I
that.
want some
Yeah.
good, clean, fresh, cool
Yeah.
air. That's what
Yes.
we need.
Yeah,
Hopefully the humidity will be low as well.
I hope so.
We have a gentleman, as we told you earlier in the show, Ike Johnson. When you get to the ballots, to the polls, and you look on the ballot, I'm assuming it's going to be listed as Isaiah Ike Johnson.
Yes, it will.
That's the real name there. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. It's great to be with you today.
I appreciate you coming in, taking the time. A lifelong Democrat, I presume,
Absolutely.
and a Marine for 273 years, right?
Every minute of
You
it.
felt like it sometimes. 27 years, I believe I
27
read.
years I'm reading. Yeah.
27.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for that,
My
sir.
pleasure.
Thank you also for the service that you provided the civilian and military communities here in Onslow County for all of these years since you've been out of the Marine Corps.
It's been my pleasure as well.
I have heard so much about you from my friends in law enforcement and your community service, and I think you and them cooperating and is one of the reasons that we are one of the safest communities in the
Yes.
country.
I agree with that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Everybody gets along, and there's no screaming and hollering about bad police and bad
Mm-hmm.
this and bad that. How many times have you been interceded in situations?
Quite a few. Which Chief Denaro and others, they are in a preventive mode.
Yes.
That's their policy, and I agree with that. If we can prevent it, then we don't have to do the corrective action.
If you stop it beforehand, there's no
Yes.
need for any other issues, and that's always a good thing. Stop crime, and you don't have to investigate it,
That's it.
and don't have to go looking for people. You're running for office now, public office.
I am.
North
I am.
Carolina House of Representatives, District 14,
Yes, it is.
right
District
here in
14.
Onslow County, and that's. I saw your signs up during the primary.
Yes. Yes.
You didn't need too many signs up during the primary, did you?
Not in my race. We
No.
didn't. Not
Yeah.
in my race.
It's interesting to know that way back when Onslow County, I think they had 3 Republicans in the entire county or something. None of them were elected. And then I left town, came back a dozen years ago,
Mhm.
and suddenly there are about the same number of Democrats now as there were Republicans back then. It
Yeah,
seems
I
like
can remember those early days.
Yeah.
I
the
don't
primary was the
I
election.
don't know what happened, but
Well, now
it changed.
the independents have taken over
Yeah,
everything.
The whole
Yeah.
state, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's my people,
That's
by
your-
the
yeah,
way.
that's it.
Okay.
I'm that way. I tell people I can dislike everybody equally if necessary. But that way I can swing in either direction I need to go. And also I don't have to show any partiality. which is good.
That's one way of looking at it.
Good in my
Mhm.
profession.
Yes.
I think that's really good for me. What do you have to offer here? Why did you decide to run in this race? You're going up against another retired Marine.
I am.
Who's been in office for quite some time. And
well, when I first ran against him back in 2018, this was a race that a lot of things going on during that time, and I'm from Mississippi. I grew up in Mississippi. I'm born, bred, and raised in Mississippi, so I saw some of the Mississippi lifestyle. And so I started to see some of the same things in our society that I saw in Mississippi, and I thought we had gotten past some of that stuff.
Okay.
And so I felt like I could enter the fray and help. And so, having been in the Marine Corps and some other things, I thought I feel like I have a set of skills that could represent the people well, and that is my desire still that I represent the people, and that is still my objective. If I can do what we call democracy, and that is it's a representative type of government. And so it's not about Ike, it's about what the people of Onslow County need and what they would like to see, and I want to represent them to that end.
What are some of the issues that you see here in Onslow that you can make a difference in?
Well, Medicaid expansion would be a start. Of course, I'm interested in our teachers. There's a lot. I don't think we listen to our teachers enough. And they are, one thing I learned in the military, the people that's doing the work usually have the best ideas for how to improve it or solve the problem. So we have to listen to the teachers more. And it's not that they're screaming for a lot of stuff. It's just that they have their finger on the pulse. And if we listen to them more, I think we can probably solve some of those problems. But they also need to be compensated, because it is the work that they do affect everyone in America. And from kindergarten up is where we get our development in schools. And the teacher is that person that affects all of us in some way or the other. And so we want to make sure we recognize them for that. I'm also an advocate for military affairs. I used to have a saying in the Marine Corps that there's nothing too good for a Marine. And I feel that way about veterans and retirees, folks who have signed on the dotted line to put themselves in harm's way. And then we come back to our hometowns and to America and not be taken care of with injuries. And the ones that we see is one thing, but the injuries we don't see is a whole nother issue. And we see that in the last 20-year war that we have. A lot of folks are suffering, and there's some things that we could do to help them with that. Just basic good leadership. I think that I've had a set of experiences that can look at issues and make proper decisions based on what is given and based on listening to people, and then making a good decision as a leader for the constituency group that I'm representing. We still want to try to improve our climate. I see a lot of things going on in that area. And of course, we have a beautiful coast here. And there's some things that we want to make sure that
we would like to keep it that way.
Yes, we would. That is, and that's one of the calling cards for our areas. Is the beaches. Everywhere I go, it's people envy how close you live to the beach. And so just a path of issues that need to be addressed. And I think doing that together is the key, and not from separate positions, but we do that as a community, as a team, and we listen to each other. And I think there's not a problem that we cannot solve together.
I like that.
A couple of issues have come up.
Yes, sir.
One of them by a Marine friend of mine who got hurt. Okay, and
Yes.
his lifetime is going to be full of injuries and pain. We've heard about in some places they call it medical marijuana,
Mhm.
legalized pot for whatever purposes. That's not the idea here, but he has proposed legalizing medical cannabis.
Mhm.
Not the pot, not you can't smoke it.
Yeah.
It's a pill, comes in a pill form.
Mhm.
It's a derivative.
Right.
You don't get high.
Mm-mm.
That's not what it does. It doesn't pave the way for anything else. It's a prescription or non-prescription, however you want to make it,
Mhm.
pain pill, but it's not an addictive pain pill. I can go to the dentist and get a root canal, and I can get a prescription for hydrocodone or whatever else that I
Mhm.
want at that time.
Yes.
Period.
Yep.
In fact, they were pushing it on me up
Mhm.
to the last couple of years.
Right.
And this stuff is non-addictive. Now, we have a problem with opioids in this country.
Mhm.
We
do.
have,
We
I
do.
can't tell you the number of tens of thousands who die
Mhm.
as a result.
Mhm.
When they toughened up on it, they couldn't get it as easy anymore with prescriptions. Then they turned to the illegal stuff called fentanyl. That's even worse.
Yes, that's a death.
So, I mean,
Yes.
you know, just
Yeah.
you may as well
Yeah.
put a gun to your head,
Yes.
pull the trigger.
Mhm. Yeah, we see too many of those deaths
We do.
from that.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are Marines.
Mhm.
A lot of them are Marines.
Mhm.
They can't deal with the pain.
Yeah.
And they don't want to take the opioids, or the doctors have cut them off opioids. Now, what are they going to do?
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on medical cannabis?
I support it. Let me say that up front. Unless you have walked down that road as a military person, and you've experienced some of the things that they experienced, and the fact that there's an option that's available to them, and 37 states have some form of it to help military persons, to help anyone with any conditions in that area. It only makes good sense that we, being a military town, that we at least bring that to the marketplace for them.
I can't understand our North Carolina Senate passing this, and they have a pretty tough, stringent set of rules. And the House
Yeah,
can't get around to
House-
even discussing it.
that was a surprise to me. But somewhere they saw the value of it, and then it gets to the House and it dies, and that's where we have been misrepresented in this county with our representation, because this is a military town, and we know the military folks that are here and what they need, and we have to stay in touch with that.
Thank goodness our state senator here, Mike Lazara, is also Marine.
Yes,
He supported it.
and he did beat me.
He pushed for it. he pushed for it.
Yeah,
So he
absolutely. Yeah.
he was part of that charge.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
thank goodness for that.
And hopefully next time we will succeed. If I'm there, well, I promise you we will succeed one way or the other.
Well,
Yeah,
I think people.
Imposing figure. I think you will do very well with that one. So
Well, I don't think some people understand the whole medical cannabis issue as well. And this would not just benefit military folks,
Oh,
but I
no.
have a lot of clients that would. But
Mhm.
like, I have a client that was in a majorly severe car accident,
oh yeah.
had a broken back. They broke just about every bone in their body, and they in chronic pain. And this would help them as
Mhm.
well. I mean, this
Yeah.
medical cannabis is, I think some people have this vision of a bunch of hippies sitting around,
Mhm.
smoking pot and passing the joint here and there. And that is not what it is.
Mm.
But this will solve, in my opinion, as a counselor, this will solve some of the drug problem we have, because people
Oh,
won't
that's a
be
given.
turning to there will be less opioid addiction. They won't be turning to heroin and cocaine and things laced with fentanyl to try to relieve the pain. I mean, if you haven't been in chronic pain, 24/7, you don't understand. So, I mean, I see it every day in these people that literally hobble into my office
Mhm.
to try to come to, to work on the anxiety and depression they have over their physical
As a result
injuries.
of that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm very grateful that you do support. I think a lot of people This is a big, a hot item for them. And it's time, in my opinion, that North Carolina wake up and get with the program and help the citizens that need it, period.
Yeah, and it's a safe legal place to get what you need.
Yes.
And that the fentanyl thing, that's what's killing a lot of people,
Mhm.
because they have to have some relief somewhere.
Yes.
And if your pharmacist is on the street, you don't know what you're getting. So it's important that we as leaders provide a safe relief for them with this.
If anybody has a question for Ike Johnson, feel free to give us a call now, 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. And we've got one caller, but hang in there, caller. Don't go away, because we've got to take a real quick break, pay a couple of bills, or, they cut the lights off around here, and it's hard to work in the dark. You're live in Local Real Talk. We'll be right back. And we're back, and our guest in the studio, Ike Johnson, Democrat running for the North Carolina House District seat number 14 right here in Onslow County. And we have a caller. Who's this?
Good morning, everyone. It's George.
I won that bet. Hi, George.
hey,
How are
George.
you?
How are y'all doing?
Morning, George.
So, awkwardly enough, I have sat in the chair that Kelly refers to and been the guy that lives with chronic pain, and also been in the hot seat where Ike is sitting in the studio. And, alarm. And I have to say, I'm impressed because Mr. Johnson is the only other person I've ever heard in that hot seat. I've asked the question, or Rayford's asked the question quite a bit about medical cannabis. I just want to say how thankful I am that you, without hesitation, responded to that question without a political ploy, because you think about the current and future status of our country, not just right now. And so that is awesome. It's very difficult to do that. You're the only person that I've heard do that question is posted. So I appreciate that.
Hey, George, as a Republican, does that bother you that he's a Democrat? You get
Oh,
to say that?
no. Mr. Johnson has my support. Don't you worry.
Thanks, George. Thank you so much.
I
It
had
is about what is the betterment of our society, not a political party when we're looking
Thank
at
you.
politicians. Sometimes we forget about that.
I agree with that 1,000,000%.
George and I have had
Yeah.
these conversations a lot. It matters not what party you are
I
in;
agree.
it's what you stand for.
Yeah, because we can get a lot
Yeah.
done if we take our party hats down a little bit
Absolutely.
and just
Yeah.
communicate and look at what the county needs,
Mhm.
and then we roll up our sleeves and go to work and take care of it.
I agree with that.
Hey, George, Ike also says he would like to buy a boat.
Send him on down.
Well, I didn't say buy one, but I'd love to have one.
Oh, well, you know,
we
I've
we
got
can
a
work
couple
on
that
it.
I'd love to have you have too. You don't have to buy it. You just have to figure out how to get it out of the smoke yard.
We can take you for a ride, that's for
Yeah.
sure, and not one of those kind of rides. A good ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, George. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, George.
Yep, y'all have a good day.
Yeah, you too. See you shortly.
Thank you.
Another question, another topic that has come up a lot here. The Onslow Board of Commissioners is full of a bunch of Republicans, but they have been they've been asking for an increase in the local option sales tax to offset some of the property taxes that the state of North Carolina has put a burden, our legislature has put a burden on individual counties because they cut the classroom sizes, but they didn't give them any money to build any extra schools with. They didn't do this.
Remember that,
It
yes.
costs the county extra money. In other words, it costs the property tax people, the property owners in this county, more money.
Mhm.
You support a local option sales tax, not support the tax, but do you support the right of the people in this county to vote for one in a referendum?
Absolutely. That is what a representative is all about, is giving the people of the county the opportunity to make the decision and not make the decision for them. I looked at my property tax bill this round, and it kind of scared me a little bit.
I
but
cried.
I do take pride in supporting community in that
Mhm.
vein. But with the property tax, and we understand that our county grows,
Mhm.
and it's been growing consistently thanks to our military families
Mhm.
and the schools that need to be built and other things that need to be taken care of kind of come out of hide. So to have this shared with a property tax shared with everyone that enjoy this county
Mhm.
is a better way to go versus
agree.
property owners.
We have another caller. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, deplorables.
Hello. Where
I
have you
knew
been
this
hiding?
was you. Where have you been?
I just can't listen to you two anymore. You're all becoming unaffiliated. What happened? You jumping ship?
Who, me?
Yeah, all of you.
Well, Rayford is unaffiliated.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Johnson, good morning.
Good
Welcome
morning.
to Drama Country.
This is
I didn't know I
Theo.
was
This
in
is
there.
Theo.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good to hear from you.
How are you?
Good. Yourself.
Rayford, welcome back from from the tropics, baby.
Thank you.
You know, for somebody who complains that the steak is too high, the prices for steak is too high, by taking 6-7 trips a year, nice try. We got you.
I take one a year, sir.
And he takes
Yeah,
one for
and
too
Lee-
long.
Lee worries about the gas, but she's driving a truck, a pickup truck. The gas guzzle is all over town, and then they worry about the gas being high. Nice try. Okay, so Mr. Johnson, how are you?
I'm waiting for
great.
him to
I'm
say
great.
something nice this morning.
I
They're
love
getting,
Theo. I've
they're
missed
getting
him.
desperate over there. By the way, don't drink anything that they give you, okay?
I brought my coffee.
Good
Yeah, he
man,
brought
good
his
man.
own.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you one question and one question only. That's all I'm worried about.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe in term limits?
I could support term limits. That is, I admit that we have people that stay too long,
Yes.
and something has to be done about it. Term limits, unfortunately, people see it as every 2 years we change our legislation out, but many times people vote for people that don't even know who they are.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so they just check the box, so that person end up staying in office forever. So term limits would fix that problem. So if that's the issue that the people would like to see, then I'm for it.
That's what I like to see because the
Mhm.
person you're running against has been running for forever, right?
He's been there a while.
Okay. And I believe that with Democrats too. Some of the Democrats that we have, Pelosi and all that, I love them very much, but they're up in age. She's in her 80s, and term limits, I just don't go for it. I think just like the president, they should make everything 4 years, and just like the president, after his 2 terms, drops down.
Mhm.
And that's what I think they should do with everybody.
Well,
If they put everything 4 years, you'll run for 2 terms, it'll be 8 years, and after that, if you can't get anything done in 8 years, bye-bye.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Theo, 100%.
Yeah,
on
with
that.
the representative type government that we have, it was designed so that citizens would get a chance to represent the people and not just one person, so to speak. So it's important that, and I see this in many organizations where people stay too long and the people behind them do not get an opportunity to represent, and they have a lot of gifts and talents that they could bring to the marketplace, and they blow right through because the person hold that position so long.
Yes.
And I don't, I know there's some wisdom in that in some cases, but I like mentoring, so I'm all about mentoring that next generation behind the next person coming up, so that there's always someone ready to step in and do the same thing or do better.
I agree with you. Well, thank you for coming in because you're in the territory you're in over there, and you're going to be going through a lot of Republicans. So I wish you good luck with everything that you do. Thank you for
Thank you,
coming
sir. Thanks for
in.
calling.
in. And you deplorables, I'll talk to you soon.
The thing, Theo, about the Democrat running, he's going to have to get more than just the Democrats to support him in this race. So, there are a lot of independents out here, and there are a lot of Republicans out here. So that's one of the things that he has got to do if he's going to win this election. Period.
And Theo, I will tell
Mathematically.
you that there's a lot of my Republican friends who are supporting Mr. Johnson and plan to vote for him.
And I appreciate that.
We want people that do something good for the community,
Yes,
and we don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats.
Absolutely
correct.
not.
Agreed.
I'm not
that's how I
for.
feel.
I like the Democrats because, as you can see, they do things for people. Money is no object, and as much as you say we're spending money, you got to spend money to make money. And if you're going to spend money and you're worrying about the budget, well, I want to see a pool in this community now, not when I'm dead.
As
Okay.
do I.
Okay, so when you say, "Oh, we can't afford it," we can't. Well, what can you afford? I'm living now.
Okay. Got
You
it.
know what I'm saying?
Theo, we're on the same page.
Theo,
Let's
you and
get things
Rayford
done
think
for
alike.
You're
people.
preaching to the choir on this one, dude.
Help as many people as we can. Some of them are down on their luck. Let's pick them up. This is the Bible Belt. Let's not talk opposite of the Bible Belt. Let's not be weekend, you know what I mean, and everyday sinners.
All right,
Okay?
there you go.
All
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, you take care. Have a good
Theo.
day.
Take
All
care.
right. Let's take a real quick break. You're live and local, Real Talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back. Our guest is Ike Johnson, Democrat running against George Cleveland, a Republican for the State House seat, number 14, right here in Onslow County. Sir, is there what kind of issues are there? Just highlight them in the next couple of minutes that you really think the people in here need your help on.
Well, Medicaid expansion is one of the healthcare issues is always a concern. That also got to the House, and it died. And but it's been lingering around for the last 11, 12 years. 37 states have adopted it. It is literally free, but we haven't embraced it in North Carolina because our legislators will not accept it. But we've seen hospitals close, small hospitals close around the state.
We have.
We've seen, I dare to think about how many people have passed away because of lack of health care, where Medicaid extension would have helped. If you've been to the emergency room lately with someone, thank God I don't have to go. But the time limits that waiting take place in the backlog. If 600,000 or better people in North Carolina had Medicaid, the expansion, they would be able to have a doctor and have some care where everything is not an emergency, and that's really important because if we don't take care of our people, then they won't be here to do what needs to be done.
Right.
So this is one that has been a challenge for years, and our legislators, for whatever reason, have refused to take it. They took it on this session, I think, but again, it gets to the House side and dies. But it's critical that we embrace that in North Carolina because people are dying because of lack of health care. And the other side of this is, I think the wisdom of the Senate, state Senate, is that it will help with our people who have opioid addictions, because many of them don't have follow-on care after they maybe go to treatment. But if they have Medicaid, they can get mentors, counselors, things like that, and medication to make sure that they get totally out of the process, help them get through the process. But if they walk out after 7 days of treatment or whatever, and they can't and don't have the medication, don't have what they need, right? So that's a big one. Yeah.
Ike, thank you, sir.
Yes.
And again,
thank
you're
you.
welcome
you
in
all.
here.
Absolutely.
You know where we are. You got my number.
Yes, sir.
Call me. Let me know you've got some stuff going on. You do have a rally coming up the 1st of October.
We do.
Where's that?
That's at the Moth Point Building on Bryn Mawr Road, and it is open to everyone, but we're specifically asking our military friends, active duty, retirees, those who are concerned, any concerns about military issues, we want to hear them. Okay. And make sure that my campaign is all about representation of the people that I would be elected to represent.
Okay.
As I said earlier, it's not about Ike.
Thank you, sir. We do appreciate it. And we're, like I say, you're invited back, and we'll call
Absolutely.
you too. So
Yes.
Thank you so much.
hesitate. Let's take a break. Fox News is next. Marisa Reeder should be coming in here in just a few seconds, and we'll be talking about fishing, because there's some fishing stuff coming up.
That's right, Charlie.
Yep, it's that time. You're live and local Real Talk. We'll be right back. All right, we're back live in local Real Talk, and
Good.
Marisa stopped on the way. She found a fish market,
Uh-huh.
so she stopped and bought some fish to bring in to us.
You are so full of it. She's on her way.
Yeah, she'll be
Yeah.
here in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
There's a big event coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the start of this big event, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. It was a good interview.
Yeah, it was great.
For people that did not know who he was, now you do. And I learned something about him that I did not know. He's a Bronze Star recipient.
I
I'm
saw that.
impressed.
Oh, I am too.
I did not know that about him. He's very humble. He has a lot of good ideas. And I think, he is, in my opinion, one of the things you need to look at it's not always about the party that a person, it's what they want to do for the citizens. Because that's what we elect people to do, is do, quote, our bidding, so to speak, things that are going to benefit us. So, it was good, but I'm very impressed he was a Bronze Star recipient.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge deal. So,
yep,
so
absolutely.
very good, very
Yep.
humble. But he's got good ideas. He supports a lot of things.
And he
that
looks
I
like
support.
LL Cool J.
He does. It look a little
In
bit
this
like
picture
LL
down
Cool
here.
J. Yeah, in that picture. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's
Yeah.
a really good thing.
We were talking about fentanyl earlier.
Yeah.
Did you know that this past Friday in California, a middle school kid brought 150 fentanyl pills to school disguised as Percocet to sell them, and as a teacher,
To sell them?
yeah, to other students.
Really?
A teacher who was
Holy
searching the
mackerel.
kid because this kid got involved in an altercation with another kid. The teacher overdosed because they touched the fentanyl. The police had to Narcan the teacher back to life. Yeah.
Oh my.
He was taken to a juvenile facility. 150 fentanyl pills.
I assume
and
that parents are under
I hope it
investigation.
doesn't say, but Lord have mercy, I hope so. And the teacher that overdosed is still in the hospital, but in stable condition. This is what people fail to understand about fentanyl, which is why y'all have heard me preach about this a lot. The number one thing I'm fearful of, you touch it, you can overdose.
Yep.
So, but it's a scary thing. 13 years old, Rayford.
Yeah.
13. How did a 13-year-old get 150 fentanyl pills?
Well,
I bet he's in a gang. If I had to guess, it's in California. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, in Bakersfield. And I want to give a shout out this morning to my good friend Marty Thompson, who is up at Vidant. He is awaiting.
I kind of know him too.
You kind of know him a little bit.
Yeah.
But he is awaiting a heart catheterization he's having this morning.
Yep.
Marty, we send our well wishes and hope this gets done and you get great news.
Get your mess done and get on home.
Yeah, get back to Jacksonville. So giving Marty a shout out. And I know Candy's up there with him too.
Yep. My daughter and
So,
son-in-law.
Yep. So we send very big well wishes to Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Allison's taking care of things on the
She's
home
holding
front.
things down on the
she
fort.
is.
Okay,
so
good.
she's got things under
Yeah,
control.
good. So everybody's being addressed, which is a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else did I want to talk about before we get into the fishing thing? When Marisa gets here.
Mm-hmm.
I told you about that. Okay. Are you aware that women outnumber men in the United States? Did you know
Actually, I was aware of that.
Okay.
Yes.
100 women to 97 something men. Can you explain how the brilliant politician we know as AOC arrives at the idea that no woman can get into the White House because men hate women?
What? Well,
her actual comment was that so many people hate women and no woman stands a chance.
Well, then how did she get elected?
Of becoming president.
Yeah, but just in general, her theory doesn't make sense anyway.
I think it's more likely that men and women voters have not found a woman they prefer or trust compared to the male candidates running. I mean, we had Hillary. Come on. We didn't trust her.
Nobody liked Hillary.
We didn't trust her. Nobody trusted her. AOC cannot recognize the fact that not a lot of people outside her congressional district actually trust her, and they definitely don't respect her.
I don't know that her people in her district trust her. Now, there's been a lot of hate and discontent.
Yeah, but she keeps getting elected.
Well, hopefully she won't this time.
She is about as high up on the political totem pole as she'll ever reach. I can tell you that.
I agree with that statement. Yeah, even a lot of Democrats don't like her.
A growing number.
Yeah.
AOC's name pops up from time to time as a potential candidate if Biden does not seek re-election.
Oh, please.
Yeah, buddy.
No.
Meanwhile, VP Harris says she'll proudly run with Biden in 2024 if he runs.
Yep.
She does not say what she'll do if Biden chooses not to run.
Oh, you know what she's going to do. Yeah,
Pretty sure she'll die on the vine and will
Mhm.
get no support from the DNC in that case.
I agree with that.
But imagine, just
Yeah.
imagine AOC and Harris running against each other for the nomination.
I'd like to watch that.
I would
just to sit back
pay
with
to watch
popcorn.
that happen.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Guess who's here?
Good morning.
Marisa.
I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
Traffic.
That's all right. There was a lot of traffic. I know.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of it yesterday. Marisa Reeder. Let's see if I can do this right. Jacksonville Onslow Sports Commission.
Very good.
God
Thank
dang,
you.
I almost said Jones Onslow. But
We get that all the
I know
time.
you do.
And I just say, okay. Like, well,
Yeah, they like sports too. So it's good.
yes. So thank you for having me this
So
morning.
thanks for coming in, and thanks for talking about a topic that I'm is near and dear to my heart.
Yes, you love fishing.
You got this other another tournament series started.
Yes, it's going to start this weekend.
Yeah. Saturday.
Yes. So
exciting.
we actually will have a captain's meeting on Friday evening
Mhm.
at the Hampton Inn in Swansboro.
How many people you got signed up?
So I'm not sure.
You're not handling that.
I invited the tournament director, but he had charters all this week, so
Oh,
he
yeah.
wasn't able to make
Got to
it.
make money and catch fish.
But I will say, from last year, most people show up that day, which
Yes, they do.
makes it very difficult for planning purposes. But I know that some will wait on the weather and just to see who's available.
And
So
see what they've got else going on or what their spouse has got planned for them.
yes. So this weekend is the Robert Rabbit Trout Memorial Speckled Trout Tournament.
Right.
So this is new this year for the series, and so it's kicking off in it'll be Casper's Marina in Swansboro.
That's the headquarters right there on the waterfront in downtown Swansboro. And you guys want to sign up? How can they do it now if they so desire? Go to the website.
Yes, on our website, Play JOSC. There's a page dedicated to the trout series.
Mhm.
And if you want more information about each one of the events, because there's a total of 5.
Yes.
So I will say that you must fish 3 out of 5 to qualify for the series end payout, which is $10,000 this year. Yes.
Mm.
And I was
Okay.
just
So the first one's this weekend.
yes.
Now, suppose they don't get signed up for this one. Can they still enter the other sign up for the later
Yes.
ones as long as they fish 3 of them minimum?
Yep.
Okay.
There is a $25 admin fee for if anybody wants to participate in the series, but they can just participate in one event or 2 events. They don't have to participate in the full series.
Yeah, they can. That way they can win that day. Do they get anything for winning one tournament?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. So
There is payout.
yes, each one of the tournaments, and they each cost $150. They all have their own payouts. They're guaranteed, and all that information is on our website. I did want to explain that the series payout: first place is $4,000, second place is $3,000,
Right.
third place is $2,000, fourth place is $1,000.
So that's
So-
the 10 grand that's available.
Yes, and they're all in Onslow County, so that's what
You have
it's
to
all
f-
about. The sports commissions. We
You
don't
have
go
to
outside
fish
there.
the waters of Onslow County.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That is a good
'Cause,
question. I don't think that we put those parameters on
Probably
there.
not, because White Oak River, part of it is in
Mhm.
Carteret, part
Yeah.
of it's in Onslow, and
I think we just start and
Yep.
end.
Yep.
We do the fish weighing and all of that within Onslow County.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, I know fishermen do not tell me where they fish. Or
I don't-
they'll
I
tell
don't
me.
mind. I don't think they're lying.
Yes, that's what I've been told.
Yeah, when you somebody asks, where do you catch those big old speckled trout? And somebody like me, some smart jerk like me, will say Catherine's Lake.
Catherine's Lake.
Yeah.
No, I'm learning. Excuse me. I'm learning. There's like a Southwest area.
Southwest Creek,
Yep, that some people
Northeast
find.
Creek.
I'm giving away all the
Well,
secrets.
that's everybody knows those.
It's a big area, yeah.
So this is the only event that is artificial only.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I just want to point that out.
Okay.
So some people may like that, some people may not. Again, we're not the tournament directors. We're just a part of the series, and
Sure.
we're here to promote the series in order to attract more people to come to the area.
Now, you don't have to be from Onslow County to do this. You just have to come
No.
here to fish.
Right. We have some last year that were from outside of Raleigh, Fuquay Marina that came down. So we're hoping to reach more people from outside the area.
Mhm.
That's what we're about.
Well, and the further away they are, they have to stay in motels, or they have to
Mhm.
eat, and they have to buy food. I mean,
Mhm.
so it adds to the economy as well.
Yes,
It's
there is
good,
an
good for them.
economic impact
Absolutely.
with our events, and that's what we try. And in our advertising, we're working with the Jacksonville Tourism Development
Mhm.
Authority, and they've done a wonderful job of reaching out and getting ads in I would say the coast of North Carolina, and maybe going into Fayetteville and Raleigh area
Right.
to attract the fishermen.
Right. Well, people love speckled trout.
Hmm.
I like to catch them. They're fun to catch. They're fun to eat too. Is this a live tournament? I mean, you have to keep the fish alive. You do?
Yeah, there's
Ouch.
and there. I was trying to look at the rules again. I'm not a fisherman. I have not been.
You're going to have to change that.
They keep trying to tell me to get on the
I don't
boat.
fish either. So
But
no.
for these events, like it would be very hard for me to be out on a boat that long.
Mhm.
And then
Why?
they're I'd
She's
be fine
busy.
just hanging
Mhm.
out for a
Mhm.
few hours. But
Yeah.
they leave at first light,
I
which
know.
could be 6:30,
Uh-huh.
and then they don't get back till 3, I think is the deadline for
That's
most
not.
of these.
That's not
That's a long time.
What?
Mhm.
Sometimes when we go, we leave before dark.
Oh,
I mean,
my
before
word.
daylight, and come back after dark.
That's why I won't go on a boat with you for that reason right there.
Well, you can get off anytime you
You're
wanted
gonna
to.
throw me over the side.
I didn't
Yeah.
say I'd throw you. I said you
You'll
could get
push
off.
me off over
I
the
won't
side.
push you
Yeah.
either. You can get off anytime you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, that's too long.
But that's the offshore stuff.
Oh, I wouldn't do the offshore stuff. I'll tell you that right now. Mike would do the river with you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fishing around here is very big. That's what I'm learning.
is.
It is,
And
yeah.
I just love being on the water. I mean, fishing, I'll go with someone, but I'd rather just hang out on a boat and enjoy it because it's beautiful. It really is around
We
here.
have
And
an
sunbathe, yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
gorgeous
Mhm.
river here.
Mhm.
It's it can't get a whole lot better than that. The river is wide. It's a lot wider in most places in New River than a lot of other rivers. It's a bigger river than a lot of the rivers that other folks have. We got some decent depths in it. That means you don't have to run aground if you know what you're doing. It's just a nice place for recreation,
Yes.
fishing, tubing, whatever you want to do.
We've even swam in it for our
Oh,
triathlon.
There's
you
nothing
know?
wrong with that. Yep.
That's a very popular event that we'll have next year coming back. So
Mhm.
we're
Good,
excited.
good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Dodge the alligators and everything, right?
Yeah.
How many people got bitten?
Nobody.
None.
Yeah.
None yet.
you
Not
know.
not to say I'm not a nervous Nelly during the whole time.
It's okay.
But they're only in the water for maybe like 10. Like the fastest swimmer is done in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's only 400 meters.
Mhm.
So it's quick. But yes, I know I have personally seen some gators in there.
Oh, I've seen gators there. Take pictures of them. But, I mean, I see gators. I've seen gators on golf courses.
Yeah. But we have so many people that are in the water supporting. We have all the lifeguards. We've got at least 3 or 4 boats.
Mhm.
And so we're hoping all the chaos that comes with that.
Gators
keeps-
don't like people. They
Yeah.
go away. They will run from people. So
Yes.
they're not that big an issue.
Well, going back to the trout series, I'm just going to talk about the dates. So,
Okay.
like I said, this weekend is the Robert Rabbit Trot Memorial Speckled Trout Tournament. And
Mhm.
then the Jacksonville Sports Commission, we have our own. It's called Fish JOSC. That's October 15th. And that one's at New River Marina and Sneed's Ferry.
Okay.
Then November 5th is the Jacksonville Speckled Trout Tournament. That's at Casper's. November 12th is the Swansboro Century Club Speckled Trout Tournament, Casper's Marina as well. Then it ends November 19th with the Jacksonville Rotary Speckled Trout Shootout.
Excellent.
And that one they take off. It says Jacksonville Landing, but I think last year we ended up going out the yacht. There's a yacht club downtown or
Mhm.
that area. So either way, they leave out of Jacksonville and they come back to Marina Cafe
Okay.
for their bands.
Not a problem. So that sounds good. Okay, folks, if you like speckled trout fishing, this is your opportunity. It's a great opportunity. Just go out and catch some. Catch the
Yes.
biggest ones.
Yeah, you could win. I know for some of the events, there's a veterans category, there's a lady angler category,
Uh-huh.
there's junior angler categories. So
No old fogey category.
old fogey.
Mhm.
I can bring that up to the committee, but I would say you guys are the wisest and you know exactly what you're doing. So
Is it okay to use hand grenades now?
hand
I don't think
grenades.
that's allowed. Mm-mm.
Has to be caught on hook and line.
That would be a different type of tournament, I would say.
That's that's
Okay.
cheating to try to
just-
bring the fish up that
You
way.
throw them
yeah.
over and they
I
float
think
to the
that's
They just
surface.
float.
cheating.
Yeah.
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 All right, Marisa, thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank
All right.
I
All
appreciate
right, let's
it.
take a quick break. You're live and local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME. And talking about fishing, sometimes you can't get a picture perfect day to go check out the creeks and the rivers and the intercoastal waterway because sometimes they're a little bit choppy. There are plenty of fish there. They're always there. They're not always biting, and you have to be where they are, and you have to have the right stuff. But you got to be able to get to them. Tideline Marine has a boat in stock that you're sure to like. It's an aqua sport, tough as nails, stable even when the White Oak and New Rivers are just full of chop.
Mhm.
challenges the little boats.
It'll
'Cause
power through.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good heavy duty boat.
Okay.
It can still float in almost no water. A wet Kleenex and it'll float in it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
I like that.
very shallow water boat.
Okay.
And it'll bring you home.
Mhm.
Even if you get there and the weather turns bad, you can still get home with it.
Well, that's a plus.
I've been out on a boat
Yeah.
and at times when and then it breaks bad,
Mhm.
and then that ride back, a small boat could be really, really, really
Trust me,
rough.
I've been in that here
Uh-huh.
on the New River. Yes.
That New River can get to be pretty choppy.
Yeah.
The Intercoastal Waterway,
I was in Coast Waterway.
and
Yeah,
they
it was
get
rough.
rollers in there,
Oh, it was.
and then white
Yeah.
caps, and it's challenging when that happens.
Yeah.
On nice days, you can even fish near shore and on nearby natural and artificial reefs in Onslow Bay, just off the beach.
Hmm.
Stop in, ask George and Elise to show you the aqua sports they have in stock right now. It can make an ideal family Christmas present for you and the kids.
Hmm.
All y'all get together. Tubing is great with those things.
Mhm.
Oh, what a deal. Cold front has pushed into the region. I came in overnight. It'll slowly get out of here today, maybe. High pressure will build into the area mid to late week.
Hmm.
Westerly winds 10 to 15 knots today, becoming southwesterly 5 to 10 in the afternoon, seas 3 to 5, except 2 to 3 near shore. Dominant period 9 seconds. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. And Wednesday, northerly winds 5 to 10, becoming northeasterly in the afternoon, seas 2 to 3. Really nice. Dominant period 8 seconds. Sounds and rivers only a light chop. Thursday, northeasterly winds 10 to 15, seas 2 to 3.
Today, partly sunny, high of 87. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 64. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 85. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low of 63. And on Thursday, mostly sunny, high of 85.
That's not bad weather. That's nice
No,
weather.
Saturday's going to be a high of 82.
That's perfect.
It's going to almost feel like fall.
Those guys in that fishing
Yeah.
tournament, y'all going to have a good time.
They
I
are
can
going to
tell
have,
you
it's
that.
going to be a very good weekend for fishing
Yeah.
and boating.
Very nice.
Very good. Yeah.
A newly announced senior advisor to President Biden referred to a top Chinese Communist Party official as his friend and took several phone calls from him between 2015 and 2016 while serving as the chairman for Hillary Clinton's failed campaign. They found the emails. Biden has appointed John Podesta to serve as his senior advisor to the president for clean energy innovation and implementation, saying his deep roots in climate and clean energy policy will help the administration hit the ground running on pushing forward these policies. In this new role, Podesta will oversee approximately $370 billion in climate spending. 4 days after Podesta left the White House as a counselor to then President Obama in 2015, his assistant, Ern Sepp, informed him that he would be receiving a call on his house line from Tung Chee-hwa, who has been serving as vice chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference since the early 2000s. That so-called CPPCCC is the key mechanism for multi-party cooperation and political consultation under the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. A few weeks later, Sepp and one of Tung's assistants exchanged emails to set up another call between Podesta and Tung in early March of 2015, a month before Clinton would announce her candidacy. In June of that year, Podesta said he had another call with Tung and asked Melanie Hart, then director of China policy at the Center for American Progress, the think tank Podesta founded, by the way, for an update on who they had requested meetings with in China because he said that Tung would probably be very helpful. We are in bed with the Chinese, and we scream about Trump and the Russian collusion.
Mm-hmm.
Hart, currently Biden's China policy coordinator, imagine that, for the Office of the Undersecretary of State, listed two CCP officials, that's Chinese Communist Party, keep that in mind, and said she shared the three names above with Tung's team, so they are in the loop. We're also working to confirm a good slot for a breakfast or lunch meeting with you and Tung. Gee, wow. Why in the world is our administration so buddy-buddy in bed with the Chinese commies? Why are we bending over backwards for them? Why are we courting them? Don't we, or should not we, consider commies our enemy? I thought they were our enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese, Russian, whatever. Why are we so hell-bent on being their buddies? What is in it for you and me? Nothing. What is in it for our government? I'm afraid to ask.
I agree.
How much of those
What-
billions of dollars that Podesta will control coming from you and me will be channeled to China? And for what? I'm suspicious. This is the nation where the COVID virus originated, remember? And was covered up by both China and the Biden administration. Even Facebook posts from people in this country calling it the Wuhan virus.
Got flagged.
They got
Yeah.
flagged. They got
Yeah.
censored. I know.
Yeah.
I got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. The whole lot happening. Whole lot.
Y'all explain to me why we just think that that is so cool to be running alongside, right in with, lockstep with the Chinese.
Well,
What's it doing for us?
Well, they're buying up all our property
They
here,
are.
buying up businesses, buying
Yeah,
up
they are.
towns, buying up.
Smithville.
Yeah. People don't realize. I mean, what do you think they're buying this for? Not to help us. Expanding their power, going to try to take over. Scary.
When John Kennedy became president, he said the United States would put a man on the moon before 1970, and it happened.
Yeah.
Miss America contestants for decades called for world peace, said it would come our way if we all work together. That hasn't happened.
Mm-mm.
And President Biden says all it takes is for Americans to come together to put an end to cancer. That's all it takes?
No, it takes.
Really?
Now, here's what I got to say about that. Okay. We, and when I say we, I mean Moderna, Pfizer, whatever the other, there's a third one, Johnson & Johnson, and there's actually a fourth one. I can't think of what it is because mainly in Europe. Very quickly got a, quote, vaccine against COVID that was killing, okay? And I mean super quickly. Someone tell me why there hasn't been, quote, a vaccine for some type of cancers or like major illnesses developed. But we got one super fast for COVID. So obviously the ability is there.
If we can put a man on the moon, which we
Mhm.
did
Yeah.
in very short order,
Hmm.
8 years,
If we can build a probe that will go to Mars, not a human, but a machine that is functioning, why can't we come up with something like this? No way.
putting our resources together,
Yes.
assembling the best medical minds in the world,
Hmm.
we should be able to beat this dreaded disease that claims millions of people every year.
Yeah. We should have. I mean, you can't tell me as long as they've been studying. Let's say they've been studying it since the 70s, and I know it's been longer, but I'm going to give them grace and say from
Oh,
the 70s.
I know since the 30s.
Yeah. And you can't tell me you haven't found out of some way to beat this since then? Bull. There's no way. But we came up with the COVID vaccine.
We beat polio.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
One man.
Mm-hmm. So there's no way. There's just no way, Rayford. No way.
Making it a
Mm-mm.
priority only during campaign speeches,
Yeah.
then putting it back into the closet after the next
But this is
election
what I'm
serves no
saying.
purpose.
That's what I said earlier. Don't, no, do what you say you're going to do.
President Kennedy made the promise to put a man on the moon after he was elected. That was not a campaign promise. It was not a campaign ploy. It was nothing political about it. He just said, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Wasn't done while he was running for re-election because he didn't get that opportunity. That's the kind of leaders we need today,
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of follow-up.
Yeah.
Don't just come out there. Well, I'm just going to take one, for instance. We got a young man in this county. You kind of know him.
Mm-hmm.
Name is Robin Knapp. He made a campaign issue out of doing one thing particularly.
Mm-hmm.
It was a campaign issue.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't stop after the election.
No. He's still heavily involved in it. Mm-hmm.
That's the Dix Crisis Center.
Yep.
He went out, campaigned as hard as he could. This is what we need. This is why we need it. I mean, he was kind of hard-headed about it, which
Mhm.
is what has to be done.
Mhm.
That's one man
Yep.
that did that. Others jumped on board.
Yeah.
Some of them jumped on board and made it a campaign deal for them.
Yeah, but it was his.
But it was
that was
him.
his campaign.
It was his.
Yeah.
We had a U.S. State senator at the time,
Mhm.
Harry Brown.
Mhm.
He thought it was important. He
Mhm.
managed to score some money,
He did.
a big chunk of money,
Yeah, he did. He
couple
did.
$1 million.
Yep.
Those are the kinds of leaders we need in this country.
Mhm.
We got some in local. Yes, all of the other county commissioners at that time and those who were running, our police department, police chief, the sheriff, they all got on board with this.
Mhm.
Folks at other counties got on board with it.
Mhm.
So, but it takes somebody with the brass to get out there to say, this is what we need, and not stop once the election is, and just because you won. Or
Yeah.
even if you lost, don't stop.
No, he's still involved in it.
If it was still an issue,
Mhm.
and even if you lose the election, it's still an issue, go for it.
He's working to try to figure out how to expand
Yeah,
it.
I know.
I mean, it's because it's not a problem that's going away. But I agree. I mean, that's one of those cases of, doing what you say. Like you said, don't campaign on something and then you don't do anything about it.
No, because
No.
that's just campaign rhetoric, and it's BS, and
is,
nobody
yeah.
really cares about it, and then we don't trust people.
Well, citizens now are fed up with stuff like that. They
are.
want, they want somebody to do something about it.
And you may as well, folks. We know that there are cameras everywhere, but I'm not cameras. There are telephones everywhere with cameras built into them. They
Mhm.
record audio, they record video.
Mhm.
So be prepared, Mr. and Mrs. Politician,
Mhm.
wannabes. When you start making promises, you never know who's recording you,
Yeah.
and it might not be even visible to you.
And don't promise something you don't have any way of even trying to deliver or even want a
No
way to
real
work on
no
delivering
real
it.
intent
Yeah.
to do it, anything
Yeah.
about it. Just,
Yeah.
you can make promises out the butt all you want, but you know what? There's going to be a time when you're going to be held accountable.
Mhm.
I would like to see again resurrected a group here in Onslow County. There was one. I'm trying to remember what it was named. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, they were a watchdog group. Some businessmen, some retirees. They went to rallies. They monitored newspaper ads for politicians running for office, and the promises that they were made, the platforms that they had. They all got together on I don't know whether it was a weekly or monthly basis, and I know where they met. They all got together, this half dozen or so strong, and they all put together, here is what these people have done.
Yeah.
This is what they
They
have
like
promised.
rated them or whatever.
Here's
Yeah.
what these
Yeah.
people have promised.
I
And
remember
then
that.
once they're elected,
Yeah.
here's what they ain't done. They ain't done this, they ain't done that.
Yeah.
And then they started pointing it out with
Mhm.
letters to the editor.
Mhm.
Good old boy Sam So-So, here's what his promises were.
Yeah.
Here's what he's kept. Here's what he's done.
Here's what he hadn't done. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
I'd like to see that group together.
I agree. Now that you say that, I
That's
really
one group that I would like to join.
Same. I think I would too.
We
Yeah.
just need a leader,
Mhm.
not me. We need a leader, somebody who can do that.
Yeah.
That would be a really nice thing for Onslow County to have.
Yeah.
And don't stop just with Onslow County, city of Jacksonville, city of North Tulsa
Yeah,
Beach,
yeah.
Richlands, Holly Ridge, or
Yeah.
Swansboro. Go expand it, because you can look at statewide races.
Mhm.
Definitely our representatives.
Definitely our representative. Absolutely. There's a whole lot of nonsense goes on with that. Yeah.
Here's what they ain't done. How many of them have they all advertise, and when they come around, I introduced this bill, I introduced that bill. How many of those bills got passed? I can introduce a bill to stop people from having warts.
Yeah. Yes. But
Okay.
did you fight hard enough to get it passed?
Well,
Yeah.
and it didn't pass, didn't go anywhere.
And when did you introduce it? 6 months before election
Of
time,
course.
or from the get go? You know what I'm
Of course,
saying?
that's when you do it.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
910-333-0139. Who wants to lead this group? I think Marlene should,
Mm-hmm.
and Lee would be great with it. I'm reading the board here.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly would be a perfect person to serve on it.
Yeah, I'll serve on it, but I wouldn't lead it. Yeah.
We need some people. Instead of these squads who are fighting people all the time, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, squads out there, they naysayers,
You know,
get citizens on here to come up with, say, listen, let's come up with a plan, Democrats and Republicans and independents
Yeah.
together.
well, something Ike Johnson said when he was in here, resonate, and he's 100% right about it. He talked about, people, in parties working together.
Uh-huh.
And I got to thinking, when Trump was president, look at what was happening. Our Congress spent more time fighting and arguing instead of think of all the things that did not get done.
Yeah.
If they had just worked together instead of fighting with each other. And same as in our state House of Representative and Senate, for example, if they would just work together instead of fighting all the time, think of how much greater things would be for our citizens in this state. But
Yep.
he's right. You got to work together. It's not about the letter behind someone's name. Okay. It can't be only about that. It's got to be about what are they standing for. And, some Democrats have good ideas, just as, some Republicans do.
Yep.
And some Republicans have bad ideas, just like Democrats have bad ideas. I mean, it's not, you got to see past the affiliation and see what are they proposing to do or want to do or trying to do. You got to work together or nothing will ever get done, ever.
Let's take a break. Come back and talk about Albert J. Ellis Airport. There's something good happening out there. You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. All right, Albert J. Ellis Airport, right here in Onslow County, Jacksonville's airport. It's going to get the Board of Commissioners here in the county have accepted a federal aviation grant improvement program, $8 million worth. The airport will use the funding for a runway rehab project. They what they call milling. It goes through and scrapes over the old asphalt on the runways.
Okay.
And then that's 144,000 square yards of asphalt. And they're going to put an estimated 28,000 tons of new asphalt down on top of it.
Okay.
So to build it up. The director of the airport is Chris White. The project is expected to begin in the spring of 2023 and will significantly benefit the county. So that's a really good project. Runways, you drive down the highway is one thing with all these vehicles going across it.
But a runway, might be a problem.
You got a 300,000-pound aeroplane coming down, landing
at
150 knots, which is about 165 miles an hour. That's what they touch down. That's a lot of wear and tear on an airport runway.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So anyway, they got to be rehabbed from time to time. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, good morning. This is Steve. How y'all doing today?
Steve, we're doing fine, sir. Thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to say bravo, Kelly, for what you said before the commercial break there about working as a compromise. I put it in similar terms as that the American experiment is about a compromise of ideas. And if you give up on trying to compromise, you give up on America.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, they got a whole bunch of guys back in 1776 in a room together, and they started working on that kind of stuff, didn't they? And it didn't come from any one particular political party. It just came from Americans. They all got together and from all walks of life, different kinds of people, farmers, hunters, whatever, all got together and did things. And they made it work for 240 plus years.
I would also say I wonder how hard it was for the country to come together after the Civil War and come to a compromise.
Yeah, think about that one for a minute.
Yeah.
And they may have been doing better then than we do now.
I think they became more united a whole lot faster because the Civil War was 3 years long, and we came along with a lot of recovery in a very short period of time, basically. Yes, there were factions and fractions and things that were outside that you're going to always have, but it wasn't as widespread like we seem to have it today.
Yeah, and there's the people who have the loudest voice seem to be the ones that want to not compromise, and that's on the right or the left.
Yeah, unbending to do what is best for the people as a whole. That's why we elect them to do basically, like I said, for our bidding. I mean, we want people that are going to do for us, not work against us.
Right. Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, true compromise means that nobody's really happy. There's going to be something about it you don't like. Compromise.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. If one party's happy, then it probably won't fare.
Yeah, if like I used to say in television news coverage, when both sides of the story were equally mad, then we did a very fair story.
I would agree.
Because we covered all sides.
Well, people have to compromise in general. I mean, you compromise in relationships. You compromise as a parent. You compromise as an employee. You compromise as friends. You compromise in life. Why would this be any different? And employers also have to compromise with their employees. Yes. That's the way it works. Life is just all about compromises. So why in something like this is it people just so unwilling to do that? I don't understand.
I think a lot of people in their attempt to compromise, they don't really base it in reality. In other words, the reality of the situation and what's achievable. You can have your idealistic goals, but you have to be realistic about what you can actually achieve.
A lot of people are also very jealous of other people with an idea. So let's do it my way, and it's my idea. And if somebody else comes up and says, "Well, let's talk about it this way a little bit," well, wait a minute, you're stealing my idea and you're changing it. Well, no, it's that idea is from everybody, and then we put them all together and see what shakes out. Well, then you tweak it. Yeah, all the way through.
Well, and you're expanding it. You know what I mean? It's brainstorming. It's adding something to it, and seeing if it makes it better.
Yeah.
But there is an air in this country of people on both sides, though, that predetermined or have a preconceived notion that the other side is just idiots.
Uh-huh.
And that they don't have a good idea, they can't have a good idea, and they don't even want to listen to them. And once again, once you're failing to try and compromise or trying to extend that olive branch, you're giving up on the American experiment, and that's unpatriotic.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think if people looked at it as an unpatriotic act, maybe they would think about it differently. Yeah.
Have to agree with you, Steve. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a wonderful
Have a
day.
good day.
You too. You're live and local, Real Talk. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Yeah, still waiting to find out what occurred there yesterday on the bypass in Jacksonville. I haven't heard from anybody that knows anything about it. So, well, I know traffic was backed up for I don't know how far, but as far as the eye could see in all directions, and it was cars were turning around on the on ramp going to the bypass off of US 17, turning around and coming back against traffic.
That's not good.
Yeah, along the shoulder of the road and
Mhm.
everything else. It was like, really? So I
That's
don't know.
dangerous.
Yeah, well, nobody was there. They weren't moving.
Yeah.
So they were backing up, coming back up the line.
Well, I'm gonna tell
So
you this: there's something going on in Russia, Rafer. I mean,
people kicking
people
off.
are dying left and right, and this is the third one. Saturday, a 39-year-old energy executive who had worked under Putin, he died after falling off a boat at full speed. Yeah, right. Okay. He died this past Saturday. He is the latest high-powered businessman to mysteriously die since Russia invaded Ukraine on the February 24th. So
What?
this guy, he worked on modernizing aviation in eastern Russia. And developed heavy resources in the Arctic in light of the sanctions. Now, he spoke recently at a session titled Everyone Has Their Own Route, The Logistic of a Changed World. Now, in February, the first guy to die, like this, 43-year-old Igor Nozov, he was the corporation's CEO of this same company, died suddenly from a stroke.
Oh.
Yeah. Then, on the 1st of this month, 7-year-old Ravel Magnavov, who was the head of the oil company there, fell to his death from a Moscow hospital, and they claim.
Whoops.
Now this guy, prior to his death, he came out and said he was opposed to the invasion of Ukraine. All of a sudden, he falls out of a hospital window, talking about he was
Nothing's
beaten.
just a coincidence.
Now this is the third guy who is not happy with whatever to die. I mean, they're just killing off everybody.
Is Hillary in charge over there now?
I'm right. I mean,
Playlist.
I'm telling you, it's like these people need to keep their mouth shut. Y'all need to keep y'all's thoughts to yourself, because if
Or leave.
do something, because they're killing you off over there. Yeah.
The tropics. Let's get on down there. We do have a system now that we probably need to pay attention to. It's in the central southern Atlantic, tropical Atlantic.
Mhm.
It's halfway between Africa and the Windward Islands, just off the South America coastline.
Mhm.
So it's about halfway there. It has become a little bit more organized, better organized since yesterday. Further development of the system is possible. Tropical depression could form over the next 2 or 3 days. It's moving generally westward to west-northwestward over the central tropical Atlantic. And it's approaching the Leeward Islands as probably on Friday. Formation chance over the next 5 days, 40%. So by the weekend, it's a possibility it will be a tropical storm or tropical depression at least. There's one right behind it.
Mhm.
It's not right now. It's only about a 20% chance of forming up over the next 5 days. It's a tropical wave. Not much has changed in the last 24 hours. Environmental conditions in the area for this one appear only marginally favorable, and any development of this system should be slow to occur while it moves west or west-northwestward across the eastern tropical Atlantic through the end of the week. So we got one out there, a good possibility, one behind it, lesser possibility. So that's one of the things that's going on. Asheville, good old North Carolina, very liberal area up there, right? Multiple law enforcement sources who spoke laid partial blame for the deteriorating condition of North Carolina's liberal city political leadership and on left-wing activists who undermine the police for the major increase in violent crime within the last 5 years. 31% surge in violent crime in Asheville over the past 5 years.
I believe it. I was there, this spring for a conference, and there were parts they told us do not
Don't
go in
go
after
there.
dark, especially. Yeah.
It's got about 90,000 people.
Mhm.
31% increase in crime
Mhm.
between 2016 and 2020, and getting worse.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the Wild West.
That's nearly double what
Mhm.
that the national average, and
Yes.
ranks among the highest in North Carolina, where violent crime statewide has seen 13% increase.
Oh, I saw some nonsense at the stoplight, enough to scare
Huh.
us. Yeah. But it was a
11
whole lot going on.
homicides in Asheville itself this year.
Mhm. I am not surprised.
Rates of homelessness up 21%
Oh, there
since
was a lot of
2021.
homeless there. A lot.
Increased Mexican drug cartel activity in the area, according to a bunch of law enforcement guys who talked to Fox News.
Mhm.
The Asheville PD and the Buncombe County Sheriff's Department have been hemorrhaging officers in recent years, many retiring early or just simply, see ya, I've had enough.
The whole week I was there, didn't see not one police officer driving all over town. Not one, Rayford. Not one. Scary.
The Asheville PD in June last year,
Mhm.
they made national headlines, international headlines.
For what?
They announced they would no longer respond in person
Oh, that's right. Yep.
to 911 calls about theft,
Uh-huh.
fraud, or
Yeah.
trespassing after
Yeah.
losing a third of their force.
That's why I took a bunch of weapons with me when I went up to the conference. I was
Oh,
loaded
my,
down.
my, my,
'Cause
my.
I thought we'll have to take care of ourselves.
All right, we're back in here again tomorrow. Don't know what we're going to be doing, but we'll talk about
Having
something.
a good time.
Yeah, we'll find. Love to hear from you guys
Yeah.
all the time, and we'll
Mhm.
try to find out. Hopefully, we'll find out some information about that traffic snarl
Mhm.
yesterday and what occurred on the bypass.
You got my curiosity up. I'd like to know.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen something like that since
Huh.
whenever,
That's
long time.
scary. Yeah.
That's just a lot of traffic from a lot of different directions, all stopped. It was a parking lot.
It had to be a reason.
It was a parking lot. That's all it
Yeah.
looked like. It's a parking lot.
Nope.
Okay. Coming up next, Fox News. And then at 10 o'clock is Rick Dees, the Daily Dees, at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's Hollywood. Hollywood will be in the house spinning
Yes.
all the tunes
Yeah.
that you like to hear. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in 22 hours. You're live in local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME.